Did you press it? Oh,
Yeah, in three, two, one. Hey, America! Welcome to a what? America only. If you're listening to this and you're in Great Britain with puffy nipples, throw your phone in a pool. We don't want you here.
wow.
So yeah, well. So anyway, welcome to another episode of Nightmare. What is your problem? Are you okay?
Yes.
Now I'm now I'm feeling very self conscious. Welcome Sniper Road. I'm your host, Decon, and I'm here with very, very. Da, 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 do, 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 do. Buda ba 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 buda ba 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 buda ba ba buda ba ba bow. Wow, 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 wow. Ask Jericho.
Damn. What an intro. I liked it. Good job.
Thank
Were
you.
you
It was my
beatboxing
mother's.
on the side?
Yeah,
Someone's gonna give you a record deal.
probably not. Um,
Probably P. Diddy.
but yeah, like just pouring baby oil all over myself. I'm gonna be like, oh, look at all of this. Did you see they brought up R. R. Kelly's name in the thing, and then all of a sudden he overdoses in prison? It's like, whoops.
Isn't that wild? Is he still alive or did he die from that?
No, I think he's pretty fucked up. I don't know if he's dead. I just know is that he was like on life support or some shit.
Oh shit. I didn't look too much into it. I just saw a video about it on TikTok and then swiped up.
I did see that Cuba Gooding Jr. was in that trial.
What?
It's like, yeah, he was like, I didn't look at it. I just saw like pictures of him like in court, it's like standing there, and I'm like, if there's
Wow.
any moments, I don't know. I think he was there. If there's any time in your life when you can like harness your inner radio, now is the time. Acts like he doesn't know what's going on. Ed Harris comes out of retirement, and then he's like, Your Honor,
Oh
r-
no.
Your Honor, radio. He didn't know what he was doing, Your Honor. He didn't mean anybody no harm, Your Honor. Radio,
That
he's
was
just a
a really
simple
good
boy.
movie.
Yep, I've talked about this
I
with
love
Laura
that
Slasher.
movie.
I Those speeches that radio gave didn't move me. Not impressed at all.
Yeah. Not impressed.
Like, dude, you
Canine.
trying to get us to win it. And look at I'm over here like hugging a support pillow. Get out of here. Um. So yeah, no thanks. Like he's the worst speech. Oh, nice pillow.
I know.
Looks like a sphincter. Anyway,
It is not a
so
butt.
so this episode is on the
It looks like a
Stanley.
butt. I'm asking
This
our
episode
viewers, like, if you guys could comment if it looks like a butt or not, that'd be great because it sits on my bed.
this episode is on the Stanley Hotel, and the Stanley Hotel has a pretty interesting history.
Uh, I mean, I think the reason why it was built.
Yeah, yeah. The guy that was building it or had it built, didn't he suffer from TB and he was
Mhm.
dying and he was out there, then all of a sudden the hotel's built and cured. It's like
Well, it's because of the elevation.
I don't buy that at all. You can,
No, listen, when you're at a higher elevation and the air is drier and it's not, I'm not using the word, the air is not so humid, then it helps with tuberculosis. It's better than the alternative.
um
Would you
antibiotics.
rather go to a ritzy hotel or be quarantined?
Do I have antibiotics with me?
In both places or one or the other?
In both places.
Yes.
Then I would rather go into quarantine and just look
Hmm.
people watch. Well, there's a story out there. I don't. Okay, so the
My
story
grandma
is
was.
that your grandma was in my story.
No, my grandma was quarantined for tuberculosis.
See, and she's fine. See, anyway,
No, she is
um,
not.
she's not fine.
No, so she passed when my dad was like 17, but they did a surgery on her to remove one of her lungs and they left something open, like one of like the valves or something. I don't know. Something that connected to the lung they left open and she suffered a lot.
See, but that
Like
story
breathing
is,
machine and shit.
yeah. My grandma, she just fell and hit her head. What an idiot. Um,
Maybe. Watch where you're fucking walking.
what are you,
Sorry, that was
105?
really cruel. Oh my God.
105 and carrying 3 gallons of water? What is wrong with you?
Oh my
Like,
God,
should know
rest in
better.
peace.
Now, she's of course I'm kidding. I loved her very much. And I just know that
She didn't haunt you in your sleep.
yeah, no, I think she likes to look up and smile at me when she looks up at me from hell. So yeah, so the guy, right? He
Anyways,
TB went away, he got healthy, and he started pouring himself into this hotel, right?
it's
And
so pretty.
yeah, it's what's interesting is that like a lot of these tales, there's like so many stories that come along with it. Um, People that were employed by him, they talked about how it's almost like he wasn't pouring himself into the hotel. It was almost like the hotel was taking from him,
Yeah.
you know. And you slowly just see him, you know, just
Well, and I think
wither.
there's like rumors of it being built on an Indian burial ground, and that's kind of what stirred shit up in there. And yeah,
I wanna,
that's one of the
I
things
wanna,
I've heard.
yeah, I wanna build a house on top of an Indian burial ground that's like on top of a nuclear power plant on Friday the 13th. That's also underneath a pet cemetery.
Okay.
So, so Stephen King, right? Stephen King stayed at this, and the interesting thing about this hotel is that
Author.
it was never successful. Um, it was like that was the curse of the hotel almost. Like how many owners did it have? Like five? Like
Something like that. But I mean, if you're thinking about it, back in the day when it was first built, it was built for people to go and recover and get cured from tuberculosis. So, really, if you didn't have tuberculosis, would you really want to go?
I would. I don't know.
Oh, you want to, okay, you
I'm an
want to
odd
get
guy.
tuberculosis? You'll like be
Um,
coughing up blood and stuff. That's
oh,
gross.
not maybe you, bro, not me, bro. I don't have puffy nipples. Um, um, so, it's just one of those things where even when the United States government like supplied them with a check, like after getting like a list of like, what do you need? Da, 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 da. We're gonna turn this into a hospital, or not even a hospital. This is a place where you went to basically die, you know. So, well,
Basically,
but even though so much money was poured in, it still hemorrhaged money, and they're like, what the hell are we doing? And it was almost like
hmm
the more money it received from the government, because it's like, all right, this hotel is not making it. And they're like, well, we'll send you more money. And they sent more money, and like more money went down the drain. Yeah, just like that. The guy's just
they
like,
sent me
oh,
money. Why don't they send me money?
what? Why don't they send you money?
Yeah.
Go ahead, open up a TV, I don't know, place where people go to die in your house.
Can I borrow yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. We're gonna make
All
your
right.
house into a tuberculosis house.
Yeah, I'll wear like scrubs, and then yeah, it'll be fun. Um,
Oh, gee.
so yeah, weird. You know,
Dr.
I'll look.
Decon. Ew, no.
Yeah, people think that I'm like a Portuguese dentist, just there just to steal their golden tooth. And then just gonna leave them behind an
Probably.
alley. You know, my friend, open up that mouth. So yeah, so it seemed like more money they poured into this place. It's like the more it was like it was sucking the government dry tooth. Like, hey, stop! They're like, you know what? We're done. This isn't going anywhere.
But it
So
was
the whole
so elaborate though. Like I question why he made it so, like very elegant, very ritzy, very like people are going there with tuberculosis. Do they really need a
you,
ritzy place?
you know what's crazy is one of the rumors from one of the staff members was that he was getting his ideas on what to do with the hotel from an employee that no one ever saw leave. Like this guy was like, you know what we should do next? And then it's like, where the hell does this guy go? You know,
What?
yeah,
I've
that was like
never
one of
heard
the,
that.
yeah, it was like a guy that would just appear. He talked to the staff, he talked to people, and then they don't know where the hell he went. And so if you look at here's what's crazy. You'll want to see what's nuts is they have descriptions of this man. And when people go to stay in a hotel now, they're able to sit in the lobby. And what's crazy is, they're like, which room is haunted? You just say yes, because the moment you step into the lobby, you start seeing all these people and you look at them for a long time and then you never see them again. And you're like, what the hell? And you realize that the clothes they're wearing are not clothes from this era. And
Yep.
some people have given a description of this man. He was tall, wore a flat hat, with a white brim. He had a big mustache and he wore like a striped, whatever the hell it was. And they're like, who the hell is this guy?
Pinstripe?
And the what?
It's called a pinstripe, but go on.
Oh,
Just helping
so,
you
oh,
with your fashion.
thank you. Um,
Welcome.
where have you been my whole life? So,
I don't know.
so these people give descriptions of this. And what's interesting is that there was some guest that thought they had hired like reenactors, because the place was very
Um,
old fashioned, old timey. And then they went to go talk to one of the managers, and they're like, man, how much money do you guys actually put into this? Because these actors that are here, are they staying in a hotel? And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's
he's
like,
like, you
well,
guys are like the only people here. What are you talking about?
yeah. And you know what's insane is, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. But Stephen King, when he wrote The Shining, he wrote it from a bad experience that he had a hotel, he had a nightmare.
A
And
nightmare
also
about his kid.
yeah, that it was like he's being chased by a hose, and
Yeah,
or maybe he was being chased by a group of hoes.
it's possible. Maybe Stephen King misheard him. Can you
Yeah,
imagine what The Shining would have been about if he would have been chased by a group of hoes?
yeah, just like he was the best dressed boy on the block, and then he had like a fur coat and a cane, and these girls are chasing them, and their wigs fly off, and they have to anyway.
Hell
So
yeah.
so so he talked about so like in the book, the hotel closed for the season. Like as soon as it was wintertime, it was closed down. There was only one person with his family to take care of it. So Stephen King was there like right before the closing. So he's talking about how it was empty. He says him and his wife were sitting there having breakfast, and it was just a big dining hall, empty.
Mhm.
And it was just him, and it kind of creeped them out. But he had no idea that the place was empty because he swore they were having a party at night. And he says they were running around, there was laughing, there was, music. So then when they told him, it's like, yeah, well, you guys are the last guests of the season. He's like, what are you talking about? They're like,
Yeah,
you
he's
guys are
like,
the
wait,
last.
what?
Like, what do you? yeah, like what are you talking about? You know, and they're like, yeah, there's no one here but you. You
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, but I heard a party. So in the book, The Shining, there is that scene where there was a big party going on, but there was like no one there. You know,
Yeah, and
so
the writer, well, oh, played by Jack Nicholson. I can't remember the writer's name right now, and I just watched the movie today too. But he
Jack,
walks into the gold room, is what it
yeah,
was
his name
called,
was
and there's like a bartender and all sorts of stuff. It was wild.
yeah, the Jack
I haven't
Nicholson's
watched that movie in a
character.
while.
His name was Jack.
Oh,
So
really? Maybe that's why
yeah,
I couldn't remember. I was like, there's no way it's the same.
yeah, it's the same. So
That'll
so
be
anyway, yeah, it's pretty good. Um, so what's interesting is that people that stay there, you know, they begin to mount complaints. Like if you don't know the history of the place, like a lot of people will go to a place because it's haunted, but it's actually just a very fancy hotel. Yeah, it's just a very fancy hotel. And if you like the Roaring Twenties, you know, and all that kind of stuff, that's the kind of place you'd go. They had the ballrooms, they had they had everything, the
interesting.
scene and the music. They still had like the instruments, like they would play, you know, all that kind of
Oh,
shit. So
yes.
people go there. Yeah, that's like my favorite era.
It would be
So
so cool to see all of that. Oh my God. Oh,
yeah,
I'd cry.
unless you're colored. Um, so
Decon!
so
Jesus Christ.
so people that go there and they're like, oh, this is going to be a great experience, you know, whatever. And then they go and they start hearing kids' laughter, you know, running up and down the
Kids running up and
hallway.
down. Yeah, and
Uh,
it's
peop
so real. They really think like somebody is out there and they
and
will call down
yeah,
and be like, can you get these kids out of the hallway?
and then they're like, no, like you're on the floor by yourself, you know, because that's like
Do you think that's where I think that's where Stephen King got the idea for the twins in The Shining, isn't it?
I so there was a lot of elements to that. Like one of the things was that you know he heard the children that were laughing and he went out and he was like, I'm trying to get some sleep. Like, what the hell's going on? And
There's no
then
one
this is
there.
what get then there's not only is there no one there, like then he realized that the laughter was coming from within the walls. You know, like it's in the walls. It's not even out in the hallway.
Yeah.
Um, so he had nightmares about the place, and they said he had nightmares till like after he left the hotel for months. You know, and
Hmm.
he's like, I got to write a book. You know, so
Well, I think quite a few people that have stayed there have reported that they have strange dreams or they have weird nightmares for a while after they stay there.
what do you think that is? Do you think that there's like a memory in the place, or do you think that it's, you know, I don't even know what to call it. Like,
Mhm.
you know, what I'm trying to say, um, like if
Yeah, I'm
there's
not sure how to describe it or what to call it either.
like, do you think things are coming
Um,
into your dreams and giving you nightmares or weird dreams, or do you think that
yeah, I'm
when
almost thinking
you're
on like astral projecting in a way, but not.
like into an environment, you know, where the energy is very 1920s? So imagine that you're walking around and the whole place is a giant memory.
Okay, this is why do I think these things? Okay, what if when you go stay there, okay, there's some stop. There's some sort of like negative presence, okay? And what it does is it attaches to your soul. So when you go home and you're sleeping, it brings you
It's
back
the
to this family, and that's your nightmare.
oh, like it's always there. I'm like in the book, like, sir, you've never left. You've always been here.
Yeah.
You know.
What if it's like that?
Oh, that would be pretty. Damn, that's interesting, and that's so dark to think about.
Right?
Because yeah, it's no, it's pretty dark because imagine you visit there once, even when you leave, you never really leave because now
You're
it's a part of
stuck.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that the Eagles song, Hotel California.
Yeah.
You know.
Or oh, what's that one movie? Room 1408.
Yeah,
It
Room
always
1408.
brings you back. You never leave.
Yeah, room 1408 is that one. That's a completely different hotel, but
Interesting
it's the
too.
same. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's more Cecil, or what they call it, the
Hmm.
famous suicide hotel.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with the Stanley, what's interesting is that when people, you know how some people go to a place and are like, I want to stay in the haunted room, like for investigate, I want the room. Yeah, those kind of people, they say that, and even the people that work there now, they talk about how no matter what room you go to, it's the haunted room because there's so many. Somebody wrote a book actually. I almost bought it, and it's a book on the spirits of the Stanley Hotel, and
Why wouldn't you buy it?
so it's yeah,
Think our
and
friendship's at risk right now.
maybe maybe you need maybe you need to go cool off. Why don't you go to the Stanley? Um,
Okay.
so it was a book where it talks about like the spirits of the Stanley, and it has over 100 different rooms with each like its own unique spirit that's in there and a description and the era and all that kind of stuff.
How am
So
I supposed? I'll have to stay there 100 nights.
well, yeah, and there's more than 100 rooms, so that's just like volume one. There's this author, she's writing volume two, so more. So it's one of those things where you know this a person's able to stay in a room and then immediately, like for example, there was a woman who was a caretaker in there, and she was very Catholic. So she was, I don't like it when unwed couples stay in this hotel, so you're gonna have to get separate rooms if you're not married. So what they ended up
None of your
doing was
business.
yeah, so they ended up putting another floor in the hotel where this floor only is for people that are unwed. So your girlfriend would have to stay in the bottom floor, and you'd have to go to the next room. So anyway, so
Ew.
if you stay in her room, they say that the room that she was in, and this was found out by a couple that were unwed, and they stayed the night, and they say they began to hear like, you need to leave this room, like you need to leave, you need to leave.
Uh-oh.
And he says that he basically put on earplugs and whatever, and he was sleeping, and then the blankets were being pulled. He says in the morning he woke up very upset, so he went to the front desk and he says, okay, what kind of a sick person walks into my room when I'm asleep, room service, and cleans the room and then packs my things and puts it outside my door? And they're like, sir, no one's been in your room. And he's like, well, why is all my stuff packed up and outside? And they're like, what room are you in? And it's like, what room were you in? He's like, this room. And he says, let me guess. And it's like, yeah, you and your partner are not married. And he's like, no, we're not. And he goes, okay, let me get you a different room. You should have said that. Yeah, it's like you should have told us that. And then they basically had to explain
Wow.
that. Yeah, so this person is still seen in the room. So some people say that when they stay in the room, and if they're unwed, sometimes when you wake up like at 1 in the morning and you look up, you're able to see that woman just shaking her head in disapproval. You know, imagine.
Bitch.
Um,
Just saying.
there's there's another
Mind your
room. So there's another room that when you stay there, you're able to smell like charred, like something burned, and a lot of people have complained that like I think there's like an electrical fire or something's burning in the room, something, whatever the hell's going on. And they're like, it's not there's nothing burning, it's not this, it's not that. So I know what room you're in this room. They're like, well, how did you know? Well, okay, you see, in the room that you're staying in, a long time ago, they used to have, lanterns that were gas powered, and there was a lady that was doing room service, and there was a gas leak in the room. She turned on a match to light it. Fucking floor exploded, and she got burns all over her body. She broke
Didn't
both
she
her
end up in the
ankles.
floor below, like in the
Yep,
dining area or something?
yep. Blew her out of the
She
room.
didn't
Broke both her
die
ankles.
though.
Nope, she did not die.
She just stayed
Um,
working at the hotel, and then
and
now
well,
she's
here's the
separate. That would
conspiracy.
suck.
The conspiracy was that, well, the story is that as soon as that happened, and they're like, you know what, you can stay in this room, the room that, by the way, you smell the burn. You can stay in this room, stay and heal and recover. And then she goes up to the boss, the owner, and she says, I want to work here forever. And he's like, good. You're hired forever, basically. And he made her like the head of the caretakers.
You
So,
know, I think the worst place that you could be at in the afterlife is your freaking job. Can you
imagine.
imagine dying and being stuck at work? I mean, that's not so bad for me now because I've worked from home, but like you, can you imagine being stuck at work in the afterlife?
Nah, no thanks. Giving lap dances for, oh, I can't say my work. So it's just, it was just one of those things where they started noticing a pattern with people, that when there was people that were staying there in a hotel long enough, there was a guy who spent his whole retirement in renting a room. And he's like, I don't care what room it is, I'm just gonna stay here. So then eventually his pension ran out. So he's like, well, we need somebody to work and be a janitor. He's like, I'm your guy. And it's just one of those things where, again, it's like the hotel doesn't let you leave. You know,
No, that's so weird though. I don't think I would be down for that.
you would think that you would, like, for example, if you're working somewhere and there's a massive explosion that launches you through the floor below and you break both your ankles, you'd
No,
never want to go
yeah.
back to that place again.
No, I would be scared that it was going to happen again. I'd
Yeah,
be like, next time it happens, I'm dead. So can we just
yeah,
not do this anymore? Like, I'm done.
yeah. Now, would
I'm
you go
suing.
up there? Would you tell the owner, like, I never want to leave, I want to work here forever? Would you do that? Like, no.
I wouldn't even tell my current workplace that. No,
So yeah,
I want
so
to
what's
be here
interesting,
forever. Fuck no.
so back to management, to the owner. So this person owned it. It was bleeding money. He was like, I can't keep this place afloat, so I'm gonna let it just go, and I'm leaving. So that was the first owner. Second owner came about, bought the place. He bought it for almost nothing, and he's like, what a great place. Brought his wife. They poured their heart and soul into this place. Yeah, I could imagine. It's like, this place is supposed to be a paradise, and here's the
I
wife.
would just want
Um,
it to be my house. I'd be like,
yeah.
this isn't business. This is just my giant house.
So, well, I mean, that's what this guy ended up doing. They ended up staying
Yeah.
there, and him and his wife ran it. His wife worked herself until she was very ill, and
Oh,
and as she was dying, and this is the story, as she was dying, you know, the husband didn't even go stay with her. He was so focused on making this place great that they say he was looking over charts, and and they go over there like, "Excuse me, sir, your wife is. I think she's not gonna make it past this afternoon." So he says that,
I have
and
a
this is
meeting.
the story.
Sorry.
The what?
He was probably like, I have a meeting. Sorry. Can
Uh,
she
no,
die another time?
no, it gets even worse. They say that he didn't stop looking at the charts, and he's holding on to this paperwork, looking at the inventory and all that kind of stuff. He didn't even look up, and he was like, "Well, tell her it was a good life." You know. So that,
What?
yep, that was him, and poured his heart
How
and
have I
soul in.
not heard this story?
Poured his yeah, it's sick. So poured his life and his soul into this hotel. Him and his wife. The guy died penniless, broke. The hotel wasn't it. So yeah. So
Assholes.
anyway, hotel went under again. Somebody else buys it. This person was very wealthy, brought it. Stephen King stays, and
Hell
afterwards,
yeah.
that boosts business. People are like, I want to stay here after book was released. And then the movie came out, so then this place is popping, right? Everybody wants to stay,
Mhm.
you think, and it's bringing in so much money and it's losing so much more. And this person's like, I don't fucking know, like, where the money's going. I have this tight budget. I have all these people here. We're supposed to be running, and the money, it's not like whenever we make more of a profit, there's more of a loss. So the guy's
Mhm.
slowly going insane, doesn't know what the hell to do. Eventually, hotel goes under.
Every
So,
owner goes insane. I
yep.
swear.
So they reopen it. This guy buys it. The hotel, grand reopening. They want to like, we want to shoot Dumb and Dumber here. Jim Carrey. So yeah, they stayed there. Jim Carrey said it was a weird place to be in, so much so he didn't
Mhm.
stay there. Said he stayed there for a
No,
couple hours, and then he's like, I don't want to be here.
he
So they're
like
like,
filmed
really?
there and that was it.
Yeah, he went there just to film it, and that was it. So they don't have many scenes in that hotel because he didn't want to stay there. He got like a weird vibe. So
Hell no. Well, I mean,
so
I do, but people like that
yeah, so he's like, I don't want. He gets possessed and he just flops himself to the ground. Like a typical Jim Carrey. So
Can
anyway, so
you
the movie
imagine
becomes,
Jim Carrey possessed though? Like with all the different faces and shit he can
yeah, he'd be running at people, just going.
He's like the greatest possessed person of all time.
Yeah, yeah,
I would want to be him in Ray Charles' face.
yeah. Jeez, be so creepy. Like, how demons laugh and they're like, oh, he laugh and eyes just red, and he'd go back and go, and then he'd like to come
Oh my God. I'm thinking of
um
like him in The Mask and how crazy he is in that movie. Oh my God, yes.
party, Anyway,
I need a
so
possession Carrey in my life.
uh, yeah, voodoo doll. um, so right, the
Oh
company,
man.
it's like, okay, we'll only be here for a couple days. Here's millions. And the guy's like, all right, awesome. And then it's like, all right, we're negative 2 million. What the hell? So,
Whoops.
yep, didn't get it. Like, didn't understand what the hell's going on. Fucking goes under again. He goes under. Somebody else comes in. I guess there was Stephen King wasn't happy with the movie The Shining, so he's like, I'm gonna have it redone into a series. I'm gonna pump in so much money. I'm gonna bring it. And he brought in a bunch of money to the hotel, and then the hotel. I think that it's still under the same owner, but if they talk to the guy, he's stressed. He's going nuts, develop a drinking problem, whatever the hell it is, and he's like, damn, this hotel's gonna go under. So
Probably.
a lot of people say there's a curse on it. It's like a curse of consumption.
Sure.
Just like, hey, hear me out. It's a curse of consumption. So like the more you feed it, the more it takes. Just like the guy that built it,
Oh,
who built it with TB, and what do they call TB? Consumption, because it's slowly like ate away at you, and you start losing weight. You're
yeah.
losing. So people say that's probably the
Oh,
curse that's there. It's almost as if the and this is my theory, it's almost as if the disease that was killing him, it's almost like he got cured because he passed that to the building itself. And now everybody that stays here, I'm just going to take and feed off of you.
I thought I was a dark person, but yeah, it's
so,
fine. We own
so
it. That's why we're
yeah,
here.
that's right. Refried dreams. So,
Do you have a
so
window open?
yeah,
Okay. No, your freaking thing in the background kept moving and I kept watching it and I was like, is there like a ghost behind him right now? What is happening?
nah, no
But
such thing.
no,
Um,
you're good.
so,
It's fine.
so it's just one of those things where it's interesting. Like the whole place is cursed. So
I want to go.
so people begin to see, they begin. Okay, so there was a great story how these people were gonna stay there. This was like in, I don't know, 2001 maybe. They were gonna stay there, and they're looking for the owner of the building because they're in love with the building. They're like, damn, this place is amazing. I want to go talk to the owner. So they couldn't figure out which one of the people with the fancy suit and mustache was the owner. And
Was it?
finally, the the owner comes out and he's like, "Hey, I'm the owner." Like, then who are these guys like that were here? And like, who? It's like, well, that guy that's standing over there by the door, and there's no one there, And it's like,
No.
no. So so some people believe that whenever you own that place, your soul gets trapped in it,
Well,
and
yeah,
you never leave. It's the consumption.
yeah. That I'll get trapped there. I don't give a shit.
You would be. It's just playing like they're playing that fancy music with the saxophone and
They have everything I need, okay? It's in the middle of nowhere. It's stunning. It's like 1920s style. It has a bar, so there's plenty of alcohol. Yeah,
never ending bar room.
yeah, I'm down.
And oh damn! And there's even stories where people have gotten intoxicated. At the bar, bartender keeps pouring them a drink. They keep drinking. They look over, and there's more. And they keep drinking and drinking. And finally, the guy's like pretty fucked up. Him and his friends are like, "Damn you!" And then the bartender's like, "Sorry, I was on my lunch break." And he's like, "Who the hell was serving me
There
drinks?"
was
Yeah,
no
the G-
bartender.
no bartender, feeding him this phantom liquor. Yeah,
That would be insane, though. But I mean, I think it's all about your mind, too. If you're thinking that you're drinking liquor, then I mean, you're gonna act a little drunk.
well, that happened also in the book in The Shining. Remember how he was at the
Hmm.
bar and he can taste the what was he drinking?
Whiskey.
Uh, was it whiskey or was it gin?
It was whiskey. I just watched the movie like 4 hours ago.
Oh, I read the book. Anyway, so the point is that
I
he
don't
was
have the book.
so he was yeah, might have been okay. Let's call it whiskey just for the sake of it. So
Yeah.
and he kept getting whiskey from this bottle, and as soon as he snaps out of his moment where he's like, "Damn, I'm by
Hmm.
myself," and these bottles were dusty, and it was like no booze in them, you know,
I think
and they
his
were just
wife came in and that's what snapped him out of it.
that was snapped them out of it. Damn it, but and I wonder how much of that. See, and this is what I wish that I can just like have a conversation with Stephen King and be like, "All right, motherfucker, what did you see?" You know what I mean?
Do
Motherfucker.
not call the master that, okay? This is Stephen King we are talking about. You respect him.
I'll beat his ass with one of his
No!
books. I'll beat his ass with the book Cujo. It's like, remember, you don't remember writing this because you were so coked out, and I just keep hitting him. Anyway, no, and then but I'm serious. Just like sit him down and be like,
I want
what
to
did
talk.
yeah, just like, what did you experience?
Hmm.
Because a lot of the stuff in the book, he just said that, he just got creative and he just let his imagination go. And I'm like, this is pretty detailed. Like, what did you
It is.
experience? Because what are the odds that, you have in the book the bartender, the phantom bartender, and then people experience it? You
Hmm.
know, people
I
show
love
up and then,
Stephen King for that. Like in all of his books, not just The Shining, all of his books, they are so detailed. You can picture everything.
yeah, the language that he utilizes, is pretty good because it's very, like you said, it's very detailed and you kind of get a lot from a small sentence.
Hmm.
You know, like in it,
Love
when
him.
he was saying, he married and he might as well have married his mother, because the woman that that guy married was just like his mom, you know. So it's like
It
you don't need a
is. Mm-mm.
you didn't need a full description about his mom, about his wife, because you already had a description about his mom, in the first half of the book. So
It traumatized me.
what it?
Yes. I am so scared of clowns because of that stupid freaking clown. No,
Oh, really?
I don't do clowns at all. Nope.
Well, geez, well, good thing we're talking about The Shining. So,
Yeah. Anyways.
so in The Shining, I mean, in the movie, Kubrick put in a lot of like hidden codes in there. There's actually a really good book out there. It's called the Kubrick Code, and about
Mhm.
his and like about he put in a lot of stuff about like the Illuminati and about like satanic rituals. Like in the movie, it's
Yeah.
got to know what to look for, and one of the things that was very interesting is that, for example, in the Kubrick Code, they were talking about how you know you get it from the book and from the movie. But then if you look up in history, it's like this actually happened. And then when they asked
Hmm.
Stephen King about that, he was like, "Oh, I had no idea this happened." So, like, "Oh, really? What a coincidence. I had no idea." And he like plays it off like it was just like coincidence. And I'm like, "What did you see
He saw
in this?"
something.
Yeah, like he saw a lot of stuff. And then so like in the movie, there's a lot of symbolism, like with the twins, with for example, the bartender again, and like the bartender himself being trapped there, and it's almost like he's
Yeah.
kept there he exists not because he wants to stay there, but because of other people's vices. Yeah, like other
Hmm.
people's vices and demons keeps him there. And everything in the hotel is a representation of human beings, like not just their flaws, but literally their demons. You know what I mean? Like
I can
whatever
see that.
torment.
Yeah.
and it's and then when you die, you become a part of the hotel, just like in real life. It's crazy. When they asked Stephen King, like, why did you choose this hotel? He's like, oh, I don't know, just felt right. You know, he just doesn't know.
That's just
And
that's what he does.
yeah, it just felt right. So,
Feels right.
and then just the ending where it's like, well, you've always been here, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, a lot of
Gives
the
me
people that,
chills.
well, yeah, a lot of the people that worked for the hotel stayed forever. They died in that
Hmm.
hotel working there. For
Yep.
like, why did you stay,
I wonder
and
if they're still like that to this day. Like, like the housekeepers and groundskeepers and all those people, if they're like
that
really long-term employees or if they're like, regular place come and go.
well, I mean, like, oh, there was a documentary on the Stanley, and they were talking to the employees there, like, so when did you start here? And there's like a gardener, and he's like, well, I started here, he's like, back in 1970 something. Like, why are you still here? And then they talked to a maid. Is that what you call them? Maid, housekeeper, right?
Housekeeper.
You talk to a slave. So a housekeeper,
Hey.
and she was an old lady, and they're like, "When did you start?" She says, "I started here when I was 16 years old." And it's like, and she's old, and you're like, "What the fuck?" But you begin to kind of get the
Oh,
sense. So then I wonder, when they die, will you see
they're
there?
still
Because
there.
will they still be there? Because again, every single room, supposedly, every single room has its own go. You know how a lot of places it's like the ghost haunts this whole floor. You see the woman in white, and she walks up and down the hallways. This hotel has a very specific, unique ghost in every fucking room.
It's wild
And
how many there are.
then you have to think, how many employees have been here? Like how many people have worked for the since the very opening of it. You know, you know what I'm
Well,
trying to
and it's
say?
almost like they're so used to it too. They're just like, yeah, former owner over there, lady that plays the piano. Yeah, they're there. It's just like it's nothing to them. It doesn't matter anymore. They're so used to it.
Oh, there's a story that was so good that they had told this couple, like, hey, the ballroom is closed at this time. You guys can walk
Mhm.
around or whatever, but just it's whatever. So they go in because they hear a guitar playing. So there's a
Hmm.
guitar playing, and they walk in. They're like, oh, and they see a musician up on stage, and he's playing like an old melody, and they stay and they sit there. They pull up a chair, and they kind of watch, and they're like, wow, this guy's really damn good. So the guy, stands up, and they're talking, and they look up, and there's no one there, right? But his guitar's there. And they're like, his guitar's still on stage. So he's like, oh,
I like the piano.
oh yeah, the piano too.
The
Um,
piano playing by itself and the keys actually moving. People have seen the keys move. I love that.
so the guitar one is so much better because here we go. So the guitar's there, and they're like, you want to take a picture of me holding the guitar? And it's like, yeah, go ahead. And they go up in the guitar, and it's dusty, and it has no strings.
Oh God, what a sad guitar.
Yeah, no strings, and somebody was up there playing it, playing a. And then when they went, and they're like, there was a musician here at this time. They're like, we didn't. The musicians don't come up until next week. It's like there's no musicians
Oh,
here.
he's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
There was
so
someone
one of
playing.
yeah, he was playing. So one of the descriptions that they gave was a guy with a pompadour and a baby blue suit, and in the records, I guess there was a musician that stayed there, and he would play for the band. His wife left him, so
Uh,
he went into the room and drank himself to death.
well, if it was a baby blue suit, are you sure it wasn't Harry from Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, probably. Can you imagine? Harry, watch me play
As
this
soon as
guitar.
you said baby blue suit, that was the image that came into my head.
No, those were sweet. Those suits, especially back in the
Those are
suit
pretty
suitor
sick.
days.
Yeah, they were
Like in
cool.
like the best scene in The Mask was when they're playing the music and he's dancing with Cameron Diaz. And you remember he switches their clothing and he makes them like 1920s era. Hey, but you
Oh,
go.
Jesus.
You're good enough for me. I like that old style music. You
It's
know,
cool. I like it.
just
Anything,
what is that?
anything from the 1920s is just great.
What do they call that? Is that show tunes? Like
I think so.
when the guy's talking and he's like, "I'm packing up my bags and I am leaving. You're not
I'll Google
holding
it.
me back." Yeah, I'm not right now. So it's just I like that. I like that kind of stuff. So and it also makes me think. Okay, we're almost running out of time. It also makes me think.
Don't think too hard.
Are
You're gonna hurt yourself.
ha, 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 you so funny. Um,
I know.
so
Thanks.
the people that are staying there, do you think? What if they're having the time of their lives? You know,
Your dog
or
is.
yeah, bastard, he is such a piece of shit. Um,
I love him.
Roland, you mother. Fuck. So
Great.
so you know what I mean, or do you think that it's like they're trapped there and you're forced to dance for all eternity? You're forced to do these things, and there's nothing you can do. You're forced
That
to
would be shitty.
imagine if that like that, for example, that guitarist, the one that ended up unaliving himself, you know people have heard him play and then leave the stage. And could you imagine if that scene that he's playing, like he's playing the music, right, and then he sets his guitar down and then he goes upstairs and he's reliving himself, unaliving himself over and over with that
Oh,
set,
that
you
would
know what
be
I mean,
terrible. Those are the
with that.
worst residual hauntings ever.
And when people ask, where did that guitar come from? Like, where's it from? They're like, I don't know. It was here when, you know,
Oh no. That
damn.
poor guy. I hope that's not the case.
I hope so. um,
God, why would
no,
anyone have to take it there?
I don't know, but it's a dark thought because
You think?
you know, well, yeah, I think so. Oh, okay, so a lot of people they imagine you're staying in this hotel. There's a party, and you're you're dancing and you're having a good time, you know, and you're like, all right, it's awesome because you're having fun for all eternity. Like, what if it's like, all right, guys, it's 8 o'clock, get up, go
Go.
dance, go. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like when they're making the audience applaud, and it says
Oh
applause.
yeah.
They're all
It's like
applauding, and
group
they're all,
clap.
yeah, great clap, like, hey, and everybody's
I want
clapping,
to be one of those people that is just like,
uh, no, I want to be one of those people that, when they say, all right, we're gonna have 10 seconds of silence because the famous coach has died. So everybody bow your heads. Five
oh,
seconds in, I want 5 seconds in, I want to go, ah, just um,
remind me to never invite you anywhere that's gonna have a moment of silence
no, or don't ever invite me to like a wake or a viewing because
or any
uh,
public event.
or anywhere. Just like, you know what, just don't invite me anywhere. I don't want to go
We
anyway.
just need to leave
Um,
you home
yeah. Um,
because we're
so
having a
it,
good time.
and but here's the Johnny Knoxville, like, in what is it, Bad Grandpa or something, when he like hurls himself onto the casket. Anyway, so, and now imagine if you're a guest at this hotel and you die and you wake up in that hotel and you're like, what the hell? And like, dude, the last thing I remember is a car headlights were coming at me and everything just went dark. And it's like you're stuck here forever.
What if that happens to everybody that has ever stayed there? If you stay at the Stanley, as soon as you die, that's where you go. And that's where all the ghosts come from.
All the guests.
Yeah,
Not just that, yeah, not just the employees, but the guests.
everybody goes back. So there's
Damn, can you
probably like
imagine
50 people per room.
cram in there? Like like there's like, yeah, exactly, like 50 people to one room, like a
Yeah,
Mexican family. Um,
that's why everybody's
so
so uncomfortable when they go there because it's just they're stacked
they're
on top of
stacking
each
up.
other.
Yeah, men stacked on, like, men ghost, and then that one lady just looks at you with disapproval. You're like, you guys are not married. Um, you're over there having a 15th some. So, um, so that's the Stanley Hotel. It's
What an ending!
yeah,
Swinging
it's a
ghosts.
yeah, swinging ghost, and you're like, why am I in the bachelor, floor again, like with all the
Probably
guys?
from Utah.
Probably, yeah, I'll wear suits and name tags. What's your name? Hi, I'm Elder Catcher. So
I was thinking more along the lines of like the gals from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, not the missionaries, but you want to go
oh,
that
I was thinking, I was said, yeah, I'm Elder Pitcher. So
route.
so yeah, that's it, guys. So thank you guys for joining.
I'm serious, I promise.
Thank you guys for joining us to another episode of Nightmare Road. I was your host. Oh, by the way, I would like to give a shout out to the Ghost Man, Sean Burris. Check out Shadow Nation. He'll be returning soon. So Shadow Nation, check him out on YouTube. Check him out online. He's got merch. He's got all kinds of stuff. So go ahead, give him a look. Also, Loot by Lottie. You guys can go ahead and get a witch box, get some jewelry, gets all kind of.
Oh, I have a few things I could show them that are handy right now. She does patches too. I don't know what I'm gonna put them on yet.
Oh, you gotta have to get that closer. My eyes are not very good. Oh, okay. Wow, it's a
You're
tarot.
freaking. How old are you? Are you blind?
Uh, yeah, a
There's
little
one
bit.
of them.
Yeah. Oh, those are tarot card
And
patches.
she does these herself. I think this one's
Oh,
upside down. Yeah, it is.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. See,
You need
that's a
to
pretty good
find
message too.
something to put them on.
Put them on a backpack, or you know, put the put them like with the bobby pins, like you're an emo kid in high school, like all over yourself.
Do you really think I own a backpack?
I don't know. Do you?
No, I'm a girl. I have purses.
Oh, all right. Well, put them on your purse. Ruin a leather
Anyway.
purse. Um,
Hmm,
put the bobby pins to it.
maybe.
Any, anyway, so yeah, check it out. On your first purchase, put Lucky Loot. You guys get 10% off on your first purchase. Okay, it's all great
Yeah.
stuff too. One of the best items on there that you got in one of your loot boxes was actually my favorite was the Coyote Jaw.
I could run and get that if you want to entertain them for 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, entertain.
So the Coyote Jaw, or just a jawbone, is an item. It's a talisman. A lot of them are used for demon repellent. So even going back to Stephen King, in the Stephen King The Dark Tower, Roland, the main character, gets attacked by a demon in a abandoned barn, and he
Feel
reaches into his
special. I
bag.
just ran.
He reaches into his bag and he pulls out a jawbone and he hurls it up the basically like shows it to the demon. The demon flees. So yeah, there you go. How cool is that?
It's so freaking cool.
Yeah. So there you go. Demon repellent.
You can even like see a couple of. Can you see it? Or are you that
Yeah.
blind?
No, I can.
Like,
No, I can see it.
no, like the little teeth in there. Can you see that?
No, yeah, I can see all of that. I even see your hurtful remarks. Um. So, so
Even me.
So anyway, what a great episode. So thank you guys for joining us. Buy some merch. I have a couple of new items. Pretty soon, I'm going to make some baseball shirts. So they're like button up, and I'm going to put the logo of our show on there, Rowdy Raccoon. So
That would
yeah,
be sick.
yeah, stay tuned for that. Check out the merch. It's all good stuff. Get yourself a hat, a mug, a shirt, a poster, a sticker, put a sticker on a sticker, put a sticker on a dead prostitute. Do so many things you can do. So that that is it, guys. So remember to always look both ways, especially if you find yourselves on Nightmare Road.
Are you doing the end? Are you pressing end
Uh,
record?
I'm ending it right now.
Okay.